What's up, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to Trailblazers Radio. I am your host, Mr. Frederick Beatty. I am the CEO and the owner of Trailblazers Radio. So, first of all, first and foremost, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to us. You guys could have been anywhere else, but you guys are right here with us and rocking out with us, and we most definitely appreciate that on a Sunday evening. I promise I won't be here up here before you guys very long, but I do have some things that I do want to kind of put out here, and I do want to say to everybody. So, with that being said, y'all, um, give me a second. Let me make an adjustment to my camera just a bit. I do apologize for that. There we go. And make an adjustment to my microphone. So, and then boom, there we go, right there. So, let me make one more adjustment here. And right, boom, we are good to go. My sincerest apologies for making these adjustments last minute, but I apologize for that. And I also apologize for some other things because if I pull away from the camera for a minute, it's because me and my allergies are having a fight and my allergies are winning at the moment. So I apologize for that as well. But with that being said, again, I want to welcome you guys to Trailblazer Radio. Again, I am your host, Mr. Frederick Beatty. So there again, thank you guys for tuning in. Continue to like, share, and like and follow us on our various social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook. We're also on Twitter. We're also have a website, trailblazerradio.com. I'm sorry, trailblazerradio.net. Sorry about that. And also um check out our YouTube channel, man. Like and subscribe to that, man. We're trying to get the channel views up. So please like and subscribe to that as well. Um and other than that, man, just thank you guys for just tuning in to us and everything else. You guys could have been anywhere else, but you guys are right here with us. And again, I appreciate that. So with that being said, and now I do have some other announcements that I'm gonna bring to you guys throughout the night, throughout the evening, or toward the end of the show, toward the end of this particular podcast. So what am I talking about today, or what is the subject of what I am talking about today? So as you can tell, the name of this particular episode is called the check-in. Part of that is going to be talking a little bit about my own personal mental health journey, but also the other part of that is also talking about the importance of checking in with those that you care about, those that you love, and those that you consider to be friends and or loved ones. Why checking in with why these check-ins are important. So, and we're gonna get to all of that here in just a moment. Before we do that, I do want to let you. I do want to. I want to tell you guys a little bit about my own personal um, mental health journey, and I do apologize for um, one of the things that some of the things about that I'm going to say are going to be highly emotional for me. So I do want you guys to bear with me on that. Um, but this is my journey thus far. So, and this is just me being extremely open and vulnerable, as well as transparent. Um, so my mental health journey started, I would say, around 1999, and it's still ongoing to this day. Um, this started a lot of this started after me being in an being an abuser and also being in an abusive relationship. Those were two experiences that were very, very um real, very, very raw. Also very, very something that's two things that I had never necessarily experienced before. Two things I hadn't ex- hadn't been exposed to before, but I was exposed to those things. Um, both of those things left a very, 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 um, a very hard impression upon me. Um, Sorry about that. A very hard impression upon me. One that I think that I probably will ever won't ever necessarily get over because both of those are one was stigmatizing and the other one was ostracizing. Um, so it started from that particular point. Um, and like I said, this is something that's been ongoing, throughout the years and throughout the course of my life. Um, there have been things that there have been things that I've battled with. Um, there have been things that there have been experiences after experiences after experiences that I've had, and each one of those experiences have left a particular mark on me, whether it was a good mark, whether it was a bad mark, or whether it was something that was indifferent. And a lot of those experiences I carried over into relationships, um, into my carry those into my even into my own being, so to speak. And they leave those experiences leave marks on you, whether those marks are seen or unseen is completely whether those marks are seen or unseen. Um, usually depends on the type of experience that you've had and whether or not that experience was a negative or a positive experience. So from that point on, like I said, the journey has been I'm not gonna say never ending because saying never ending is a negative word, but it has been I will say enlightening for to say the least. There are some things this journey has allowed me to see some things about me that I probably would have never ever recognized or ever even put to even to any type of account, honestly speaking. And I never would have thought about that had I not embarked upon this journey. Now, me embarking upon this journey was not anything by necessarily not necessarily by choice. It was just the aftermath of all the things that I experienced. Now, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be very brutal. I'm gonna be very open and very open and very vulnerable with what I'm saying. I have always struggled with depression. That is something I've always struggled with as a man. Not because of you know I want not, and it's not the simple fact that know that I want to be depressed. That I that I that I want to be depressed. That it's not that I want to be depressed or anything of that nature. It's just that's something I've struggled with. So I've always struggled with depression. So there hasn't been one point in my life that where I hadn't fell into depression. There wasn't any instance in my life to where I wasn't depressed or anything of that nature. Now I wasn't depressed 24/7, 365 days a year, but there will be instances in my life to where I would fall into those moments of depression, um those moments of unsureness, those really really dark moments to where even waking up would be difficult, even getting out of bed would be difficult, even going on with your day, going on with the momentum and the things of my day would be difficult. So that's something I always struggle with. I'd always struggle with depression, there wasn't any one point moment in my life there I'd be in that I would either be in or out of it. So I've always struggled with that. I've always dealt with that. I've always say I've always dealt with that. That was something I've always kind of dealt with in my lifetime. So depression was something that I've always dealt with. And like I said, there are days to where I would be there are days where I'm up and I'm productive and I'm moving around and I'm doing things and I'm accomplishing things and I'm doing everything that I need to do. And then there are moments to where I'm down. to where I'm down to, or to the point that where I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be productive. I don't want to be creative. I don't want to do anything. I just want to lay here and I just want to just be here, just be, you know. And like I said, this is depression was something that I've always struggled with. Now, the other two things that I've struggled that I haven't that I didn't even experience, that weren't even experienced, or even that became new variables or anomalies to me were uh, anxiety and PTSD. Now, so mind you, both of those things stemmed from a traumatic event. Um, the loss of a child, loss of my oldest son. I'm sorry, my oldest son brought about the anxiety and the PTSD. More so the PTSD than the anxiety. Um, I'm not all in. See, the anxiety is something that comes on every once in a while because I'm not always anxious or weird or kind of weary or kind of really just don't want to be around people like that. Now, I do want to be around people. It's just that there are certain instances to where I do get around a lot of people, certain things kick in. But the PTSD was something that was very, very different. Was something that was a nuance that was nuanced to me. And the reason I say that is because most people associate post traumatic stress disorder with folks being in the military, and they would be half right. They would be half right because yes, those people, yes, those men and women who do serve and who have been in theaters of combat or things of that nature, or who've experienced something traumatic while being in the military would suffer from PTSD. However, someone outside of the military can also experience that as well. That's something that I experienced after the death of my son. And this happened in 2015, the death of my son, yes, in 2015. But then this is where at a point where all those um, all those things were happening, all these police involved shootings and things of that nature. Pardon me, I'm sorry, y'all. Like I said, I do get a little bit emotional when I talk about that. Um, so when it happened in 2015. Um, so many other things had happened prior to and after that. Excuse me. There were so many other things that went down after that. More police involved shootings and things that happened after that. And seemed like every time I saw something on the news or read something about someone being another person of color being either being accosted or killed by a police officer, it just threw me right back to my own personal situation and my own personal loss. And it threw me right back to the helplessness that I felt when all that happened, all that all those things happened around me. All this like the walls of Jericho were coming down around me. And I was, for me there, I was trying to excuse me, trying to get a hold of myself, but also deal with losing a child, deal with losing someone that I had given birth to. That I not one I had given birth to, someone that I helped create. Someone that God had blessed me, had saw enough in me to at least make an attempt to be his father. Anyone who has dealt with loss knows what that is, knows what that is, knows how that feels, knows how that what that what that feels like, what that may look like. Now, how everyone loss to me is the same across the board, whether it's a family member, whether it's a child, whether it's a parent. Loss to me is the same across the board. It's the way we deal with it that that changes, because we all deal with it differently. And for me, again, remember when I told y'all that I always struggle with depression. That's something that came back. Feeling depressed, feeling down, feeling like I let my son down, feeling like I um hadn't lived up to the expectations of being a father to this child, to this young man. Um, just a lot of things that went on in my mind and things of that nature. And then another nuance, another nuance. Attempted suicide attempts. To my knowledge, I can I can count three attempted suicides for me anyway. Three attempted suicides. Um, One was around 2006, 2007. Well, that doesn't count as that to me. That doesn't count as attempted suicide because I never actually went with the act. But it was a thought. But the actual suicide attempts occurred. One occurred in 2018, 3 years late, 3 years after my my older son was dead. What had passed. Sat in the car with the sharpest knife in the that I could find. Made attempts to cut myself. It made attempts to cut myself in an attempt to, you know, penetrate a main artery, and it never happened. It didn't happen. Apparently, God said no, not today. Even after that, I fell into a deep depression and things of that nature because I felt like, and this came from a simple fact, the simple instance of just feeling like that I was failing as a father, failing as a husband, failing as a man, just failing, period, as a man. And I felt like I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to battle through the depression. I didn't want to continue to battle through the depression. I didn't want to continue to battle through any of that stuff. So I felt it was best for me to go, to leave. And God saw fit that it didn't happen. The the second attempt was in the second attempt was a more recent attempt. And what I mean more recent, I mean 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Um this was a little bit harder to talk about, but I will talk about it. So this is kind of like during the fledgling parts of um, my marriage dissolving, or beginning to unravel and beginning to dissolve due to my own doing. And I'll say this: I mean, the part that I played in it was the part that I played with, and I take full responsibility and accountability for that. So the second attempt was a lot more intricate, to say the least. Um, so in my mind's eye, if God would allow me to cut my wrist so I can puncture an artery and and bleed out. Well, maybe I could maybe I could hang myself or strangle myself or die from asphyxiation or whatever or something of that nature. So now this happened the day before I left Florida to come to Georgia. There aren't too many people that know about this. So I'm being open and very honest and putting it out there right now. So so in 2000 in the summer of 2020, I I nailed put nailed a belt nailed one of my belts to the wall to the ceiling, connected another belt to that, and then made a makeshift noose with another belt, and I wrapped it around my neck, and I stood at the edge at the edge of the outermost edge of the bed, the, and with the thought process of when I really when I stepped off the edge of the bed, I was this was going to happen. This was going to be something that was going to be instantaneous. My neck, I was hoping my neck might snap and all these other things would happen. And when I stepped off the edge of the bed, I felt the belt tighten up and I felt everything get taut around my neck. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to happen. This is going to work. And as more and more pressure was on my neck and things of that nature, you know, as I kept getting closer and closer to just to blacking out or just maybe just strangling or just being able to strangle to where I wouldn't have any air or where my air would be cut off. As I got closer to blacking, as I got closer to blacking out, and as and I did black out, but as I blacked out, the the belt that I had hanging from the wall broke. Well, it separated from from the nails or the nails that I had up there, so it broke. And you know, wasn't I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that, so I fell, and I fell hard on my back, and when I fell, it immediately brought me back to consciousness. So I'm sitting there. Well, I'm not saying I'm sitting there. I'm laying there on the floor of the bed of my bedroom with with my arm not necessarily spread eagle, but I'm laying there on my back, looking up at the ceiling, and I am I'm literally crying and asking God, why won't you let me go? Why? Well, why won't you let me go? I'm tired of being here. Why won't you let me leave? I don't want to be here. I failed as a father. I failed as a father. You know, I failed as a father to my four kids. You know, and at the time, I thought that my me not being able to contribute to my son's development and growth led to him dying and things of that nature. So I felt that I failed as a father to him. I felt like I failed as a father to my middle son, my middle son, my younger son, and my only daughter. I felt like I failed as a step parent. I failed as a husband. I felt like I failed as a friend. I felt like I failed as an in as a person. Period. And here I am laying down. Here I am laying on the ground, on the floor, looking at the sky, just crying my eyes out and asking God, why won't you let me leave? I don't want to be here. I don't deserve to be here. I didn't deserve to be a father, didn't deserve to be a husband, didn't deserve to be a friend, didn't deserve to be any of that. So why not just let me leave? I'm sitting there crying and I'm pleading to God, look, why would you keep giving chances to a fuck up? Why would you keep giving chances to somebody who's always who's good, who's better at destroying shit than he is building shit. And I'm crying and I'm crying and I'm screaming and I'm cursing and I'm just distraught. I'm distraught. You know, God doesn't want me to leave, so God doesn't want me to leave, but I want to go. So there's a disconnect, or there's the conflict. And it's interesting, it's interesting for me to know throughout the crying and the pleading and the begging and the cursing. There's this small, this this side is faint but audible voice in my head saying that you there you're not you're redeemable. At this point, I felt like I was at this point I was at my lowest point ever in my life, and I felt like I was not redeemable. But here's this small voice, this voice that's barely audible saying that. And for that time being, I ignored it. So still on the ground. I got myself up, painfully got myself up, and I you know walked went to the restroom, washed my face, um, and got myself ready to go to bed. It was at that instance that I decided that I needed to leave um, the state of Florida. Um, Now the other part of my mental health journey was my divorce. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that it was ugly, because it was not ugly. I'm not gonna say that it was stress. I'm not gonna say that it was not stressful, because it was, and that played a part on that played a part in some of my outlooks and things of that nature. Now I'm not going to say anything to not going to mention no names, because that's just what I'm not going to do. But when the divorce became final, I actually felt like I failed at marriage as well. I failed at being a husband. I failed at being a provider. I failed at being a protector. Fast forward, um, fast forward a year and a half later, you know, I talked to somebody at least once a week or once I'll talk at least once a week or once a month. There's still I still there are still times and still instances to where I do feel like I fall into deep depression, or that when I notice something traumatic happens, such as like me, just witnessing the death of George Floyd triggered so much of a response to me. It it really just threw me back to that particular space in time. And it took me right back to the futility of not being a father to my son. And just to know that, and just to see that that 8 minute and 46 second video of this man, you know, in his last moments, and to know that in 2015 that was to know in 2015 that was probably the same position my son was in. To know that in 2015 that was probably my son's same same predicament or position, or at least something that was somewhat similar, or at least something that was. I mean, my son's situation and George Floyd's situation are are totally different things. However, the overarching theme is the same, and I couldn't get that out of my mind. I couldn't get that out of my head, and for a while, it did take me back to that to that point in time. It did take me back to that instance to where I felt like it's almost like watching everything happen again, but this time you have a front row seat and you watch it all happen, and it's like you're pinned to the seat that you're sitting on, and you can't get up and intervene. So so I guess you're wondering why did I make myself so vulnerable at this moment in time? Why would I put my own pardon me, why would I put my own mental health journey out there? Why would I be why would I try to be as transparent as I was, and try to be vulnerable as I am now? Well, the simple fact of the matter is that we as men are not given a chance to be vulnerable. We're not given a chance to be emotional. We're not given a chance to be open with our feelings. Because if we do that, it's looked at as being soft, or looked at as being weak, or being looked at as quote unquote you are not a man. Now, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be and I'm actually going to mean this when I say this. And what I'm about to say is not meant to antagonize anybody, but what I'm saying is actually is a fact. Women, You have no idea what it means to be a man. Nor do you know your own. Nor do you have the definition of what it means to be a man. Because we as men don't know what it do. We're not women, so we don't know what it means to be a woman. So no, nor do we know, nor do we understand the trials and tribulations that you guys go through. Yet we do try to be. Yet we do try to be understanding and listening and listen to things of that nature. And I'm not saying that all women don't do this. What I'm saying is that men don't know how to be women, and women don't know how to be men. So neither one of us knows what the true definition of what of that is. So again, I apologize if it came off antagonistic in nature, but it was not antagonistic. It was just me stating a fact. The other fact of the matter is this. Like I stated before, we as men, especially black men, are not given those avenues to be able to be open and transparent and vulnerable. Because like I said before, it's looked at as a sign of weakness. It's looked at as a sign of not being a man. And let's just call a spade right now. I mean, there are people out here that will say that if a man is being open and being open and traumatic or sensitive or emotional and things of that nature, they'll say this dude got to have a will wear we wearing a bra and panties, and to me that is very unfair. I'm gonna say that out loud. That to say that a man is wearing bra and panties, that's very fucking unfair. I'm not saying it to, and again, I'm not saying it to be antagonistic to anybody because it's not. I'm not being antagonistic. But to say that a guy is weak, say that a man got maybe wearing a skirt or wearing panties or a bra because he's being emotional because he's being emotional and he's trying to be transparent, he's trying to be open with what he feels and things of that nature. That's wrong. That's wrong. To call a man that is wrong. It's wrong. Period. Point blank. Point blank. And that's hurtful. It's very hurtful. And let's just call a spade, y'all. We most of us, a lot of us men that grew up, we grew up, or we either we grew up around either we grew up in a single parent household or we grew up with our parents, with both of our parents in the household. I personally, I grew up with both of my parents in the household, mother and father. You know, never once did I ever see my father display, you know, any strong emotions like that. We knew that he loved us and that he cared about us and that he would do whatever he could do for us. So those things were automatic. And I hope my dad doesn't hop on my head for saying this. But I want to say this to illustrate a point. The first time as his I as I as his son, the first time I saw my father break down, be emotional, and really just break down was when he lost his mom when he lost his mother, also known as my paternal grandmother. and the reason it's hard for me to say, it's hard for me to talk about this because every time I talk, every time I think about it, I get emotional with it and I get choked up about it because the simple fact because this is the first time I've ever saw my father just break down and just let the tears flow from his face is when he lost his mom. I'm sitting there standing with him through the whole time, and excuse me, standing with him the whole time, and I feel this, I feel this nervous energy with him. I feel this nervous energy inside of him, but also I feel this nervous and this anxious energy inside of him, like he didn't want to go, over there and look at my grandmother, or he didn't want to do any of that, but he felt he needed to as a as our son. And he felt that if he didn't go over there, he would be able to give her his his last respects. And like I said, I mean, I have my hands on his shoulders. I'm consoling him, or at least I'm trying to console him. And there's this nervous energy with him, this nervous and this anxious energy inside with him and inside of him. And I feel it. I feel the nervous and and the anxious energy inside of him, but I also felt an overwhelming amount of sadness and grief. Overwhelming amount of sadness, grief, and a little bit of futility. You know, again, as the whole thing went on, as the whole thing went on, you know, I'm sitting the furthest away from him. Not the furthest away from him, but we're in the same row, but I'm the furthest away from him. And every once in a while, I crane my head over to see if he's okay. And every time I'm looking, you know, I see my dad. He's doing his level best to keep himself under control, under to keep himself calm, to keep himself in a place to where all these emotions, all the upheaval of emotions that he feels, it doesn't explode. And you know, I saw my father, bury his hands in his face, bury his face in his hands. And at that moment, I knew that was that was his breaking point. It may have not been for him, but I knew that was either his breaking point or it was close, very close to it, or was damn close to it. And you know, I had to sit there and deliver like an exhortation on my grandmother, because none of my cousins were in their right mind to do this. I wasn't in my right mind to deliver it either. But with the heaviest of hearts, I did. Those the words that I wrote were very heartfelt and very true because that's the way that I saw my grandmother. And it took everything in me not to break down and cry when I was up there. You know, my maternal and my paternal grandmothers were everything to me. They were they were very integral and they're very integral and important part of my upbringing. From the times we would spend Christmas together. We would spend Christmas Eve over my grandmother's house, my paternal grandmother's house, and then we spend Christmas Day at my maternal grandmother's house, and so many other things that happened in between in between that. But seeing my father in that vulnerable and that emotional state triggered something in me, and it's almost like a light bulb went off. I won't say a light bulb went off in my head, but it did go off in my head. And I was thinking to myself, why is it that we as men, especially black men, can't be open and honest when it comes to our feelings, when it comes to what we feel, when it comes to how we feel, when it comes to what we feel, when it comes to expressing those things. And why is that? Those are questions that I can't answer. The only real answer I can give to those questions is that I give off my own experience. I can only personally give off my own experience. The minute I try to be vulnerable, the minute I had tried to be vulnerable, or I had tried to express my emotions about something, I was always looked at as being a punk or quote unquote a pussy or you're not a man, you know, why don't you grow, why don't you get some balls about yourself or some business about yourself and be a man, or grow up here, will you? Things of that nature. The funny thing about this is that this came from both ends of the spectrum. We as men get this from both ends of the spectrum. We get it from the women that are in our lives. We also get it from some of the men that are in our circle. And yes, LSG, we are conditioned to be we are conditioned to be tough, and we are conditioned to be stone faced and stoic and unmoving and unbreakable and things of that nature. But when in the exact opposite, we as men can be broken just as women can be broken. And again, I'm not comparing men and women and things of that nature, because this is not what this is about. I'm just the one thing, I'm just asking a question though. Why and this is something that I want to explore. Why is it when it comes to being vulnerable or expressing ourselves or just letting go of those emotions that we have, why is it that those particular avenues aren't always available to us as men? Those avenues should be available to us as men, especially when men are 4 times, and I'm gonna say this again, when men are 4 times likely to commit suicide than women are. Men are more likely to abuse, to turn to alcohol, to turn to substance abuse. And when I said men are 4 times likely to commit suicide, this is actually a stat in 2022, y'all. You know, This is the stat of 2022, y'all. And I need y'all to understand this. I really need y'all to understand this. You know, we suffer we a lot of things that we suffer from are some of the same things that other people suffer from: depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, PTSD, um adjustment disorder, borderline personality disorder, mood disorder. All these things are the same things that we suffer from, just like someone else does. The funny thing about it is that when those things are not when those strong emotions aren't addressed, there are other things that happen: substance abuse, gambling, suicide. Funny thing about it is us as men traditionally us as men, especially black men have we loathe we it's something that we would loathe to do because of the stigma that it may place upon us. Plus the traditional male stereotype. You got to be strong. You got to be strong. You got to be stoic. You got to be unmovable. You got to be unbreakable, and things of that nature. First and foremost, we're we're just as human as anybody else, as any others. We're human, just like women. We hurt just like y'all. We hurt just like women. We bleed the same blood just like women. And again, the thing of it is, in our community, and I'm not talking about anybody else's community, but I'm talking about our community. This community is, like I said, it affects us. Mental health affects all men, but for us, it's more of the stigma part of it. We don't want to go seek therapy, or we don't want to talk to a professional because we're not. We've been conditioned to not seek out those avenues of help. We're conditioned. We've been told, and again, I go back to tradition. I go back to traditionally. Not we're That's not something we're supposed to do. We're supposed to just stand there, unmovable, unbreakable, unshakable, stoic. But y'all, y'all, the times and the times and the circumstances have changed so so much. I'm gonna repeat that again because I want everybody I want everybody that's listening to me, and that's also watching this particular episode right now. I need y'all to understand that the times and the circumstances have changed so much. And I'm not saying this because I recognize my own journey, my own journey, because I do recognize my own journey, and also recognize the implications and the effects that my I recognize the implications and the effects that my journey can have on somebody. Can And I recognize how my experiences could help somebody. I recognize the importance of my voice. And that's not to say that I'm the lead end all be all expert on any of this, because I'm not. I can only go from my own personal experiences, y'all. But like I said before, and the the times and the circumstances have changed, y'all. And I need everybody to know this and recognize this. And yes, LSG Twitch is a prime example of that. A life gone too soon. Who knows what was going on in that man's head when he decided to take his life? Who knows what went down prior to that? It is so imperative now that we look at those things, man. We have to. We need to. How do you think we're going to be able to prosper as as men and as black men and women, if we don't look at these things, we don't address these issues, we don't tackle these things, we don't um face that thing head on. I'm saying that with the very most utmost conviction in my heart and in my spirit, because it's time for us as men to to embrace that part, that those things within us, to talk about our experiences, man. Let those strong emotions that we feel out, those emotions of fear, doubt, and anger, anxiety, and all those things are important to let go, to let loose. My thing is this: I don't want to see another brother of mine, whether he's black, white, um, Hispanic, Indian, whatever your race is. And I don't care if you're a straight male. I don't care if you're a gay male. I don't care if you're trans. I don't give a damn about that. What I do give a damn about is that we as men can't should not have to hold our emotions in based upon based upon some tradition or some definition of what a man is supposed to be. That's not right. That's not right, Charles. That's not right. That's not cool. That's not how it's supposed to be. We as human beings are supposed to be able to have not only harmony within harmony with other people, but we're also supposed to be able to be in harmony with ourselves. Being in harmony with yourself also means acknowledging those things that we experience, whether they're traumatic experiences or whether they're not traumatic experiences. Being in harmony with yourself means acknowledging the things that you've been through and also confronting those things. You can never conquer what you don't confront. Never. So now I guess you're probably wondering, where does the check-in part come in? Well, it comes in this fashion. We as men owe it to each other as men to be accountable to each other. we all know that we all know the stigma of mental health is real as men. We know this. We also know this stigma is you also know that this is we know the stigma of mental health is real, y'all. As well as we know that this stigma is causing us to for us to lose my brothers at an alarming rate. And the reason that I say that the reason that the check that the part of the phrase of the check in is necessary is because we need to check in on our brothers. We need to check in on our brothers. Whether that's a phone call, whether that's a text, whether it's a Facebook message or an Instagram message, a voice message or a type written message. We need to check in on our brothers. We need to check in and make sure that our brothers are doing well. We if we can't rely on other people, we can't rely on. And I'm not. And again, what I'm about to say is not about to be. What I'm saying, what I'm about to say is not antagonistic, but what I'm also saying is a palatable. It could be looked at as a fact, but it could not be looked at as a fact either. However, I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to get a lot of pushback from this, but and at this particular point, I actually don't care. Simply put, I don't care if if some of our if some not all, keep in mind what I just said, y'all. If some, not all, if some of our women are not aren't gonna be that way to aren't gonna be that outlet or that accountability partner to us, then we as brothers have to be accountable to each other. Period. And again, I said some women, not all, because most women, most women are supportive of their men, supportive of their male counterparts or their husbands or their significant others. I've actually seen this in action. So I'm not discredited. So I'm never going to discredit the women that do that are supportive, like that are supportive. But it takes away from the but it takes that away from the ones that are not. So we have to be accountable for each other. I have to be accountable for for the men for the brothers that are in my circle of influence. I know that now. I realize that now. I have to be accountable for the brothers that are in my circle of influence. I have to be able to call them or text them and say, "Hey, brother, how you doing? What's going on? How you feeling? What's your what's your mental health on a scale of 1 to 10? Is there something there's something going on that me and you can talk about? Maybe you and I can talk about it. Maybe we can hash it out. Or if there's something really going on that really needs more than just me just talking to this person, talking to this man, talking to my brother, I can point him out to resources that'll be able to help him. There's some guys that are in my circle that have, and I'm not gonna mention their names or anything. There's some guys in my circle that have told me things, and I had to take a step back, and instead of listening just to hear, had to listen to comprehend, had to listen to not understand but understand. And the thing of it is that what these gentlemen told me, what I know is that what they said to me was power. Number one was powerful, but also just kind of just put my own journey in the back of my mind. But also it also gave me the ability to relate, but also to listen and offer advice without judgment, and to be that listening ear when that person needed me to listen to them the most. Brothers, I want y'all to hear me, and I want y'all to hear me well. We have to be the ears to listen, the shoulders to cry on, the the non the non-judgmental entity when it comes to our own mental health. And again, and ladies, y'all play an even more integral part in that. By being there for your mate, by listening without judgment, by not and again by not understanding but understanding, and being that shoulder to cry on when those times get those point where he gets to those points in life to where things are just rough. It means a lot to a man to know that his woman, or to know that his woman, again, not understands but understands what he's feeling and what he's going through. When his woman can sit down and say, "Baby, what's wrong?" and then that man can tell you what's wrong, and you listen, and you understand, you understand, and then you offer a hug, or a shoulder to cry on, or just kind words. It helps. It goes a very, very long way. And ladies, again, like I said, you play an integral part in this. You could also check in. You can also do a check in with your mate and ask them how they're doing. Good morning, baby. How are you? What? How are you doing today? How's your mental health on a scale of 1 to 10? Is there anything that we need to talk about? Anything that we need to kind of we need anything we need to talk about? Are there some issues that we need to get out in the open? And again, you as being his woman, or his wife, or whatever you are to him, you have access to the same resources. You can point him in the direction of those resources. Point him into the direction of people that a therapist or anything of that nature. A therapist, or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, or anything of that. It helps. It helps y'all. It does, because again, you never know. You never know whether a kind gesture, or a shoulder to cry on, or even just an outlet for him to just say what he needs to say without judgment can help in his mind state. Now, I'm not now. And trust me, I'm also gonna do it. I'm also gonna do the same thing. I'm also gonna do the same thing with our women because y'all, because women, y'all do it's the same thing. Y'all go through the same thing just as we do. However, with us as men, it is more pronounced because again, women are able to talk to their girlfriends, and they have you guys have those outlets to talk to you to use when it comes to that. We as men don't we either we have the we don't have those outlets, or we know about those outlets and we don't take advantage of those outlets, or we again we're stuck in we're stuck in tradition and we don't do it because of how we were brought, how we were raised, and our upbringing and things of that nature, and our experiences. A lot of our personal experiences have forced a lot of us as men to just to deaden our emotions. I don't know how I don't know, and I'm saying this to as to my own experience. Because at one point during my journey, I had to deaden my emotions for the sake of me trying to push forward and getting to a specific spot or place. And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that at all. You know, that's why I say these check-ins are important. These check-ins are important. Ladies, if you have a significant other, man, I feel like brothers, if you have a circle of friends or a circle of people that you know, and sure, if you have a circle of friends and you circle of brothers that you know that you can trust with information, such as just information like that, you know, talk to them. Sometimes it's best for men to hear. It's good for men to hear other men. Ladies, do check ins with your mate daily or weekly, check ins with your mate. Brothers, if you have a circle of friends, man, don't if you know you have their numbers and things of that nature, check in with your brothers. Hey bro, how you doing, man? I was thinking about you. I wanted to do it, just wanted to check in with you to see how you were doing. If is there anything that I could do to help you and things of that nature. Check in with your brothers. Check in with your brothers because some of us, honestly speaking, some of us, honestly speaking, are not okay. And we say that we're okay, but we're not okay. And I do, and for this, and I think for the second part of this, I do want to do another episode that's called It's okay to not be okay." Now before I go, that was a lot that was a lot to take. That was a lot for everybody to take in. What I said was a lot for everybody to take in, and I want to before I go, I want to give resources um, for people who are going who could or could not be going through crisis, who could be going through crisis, or just some information for you to have. You know, so I do want to give resources. You know, Um, if you bear with me for just a moment, give it just a second, y'all. I want to make sure that I give you all these resources. And I see my sis just popped in with us. Um, do you want to hop in for a second, or are you good? No, you good for now?
Hi, bro.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, so
Hey,
really good show from what I saw. So I want to commend you on that. Um, Also, there got to be another part to this, so this cannot be the only one.
it won't be. Part two is it's okay to not be okay.
But I hope that everybody has had a wonderful day today, and I pray that all is well. And I hope that somebody really took something away from what he has said tonight and from everything that was said, and that you can take it and apply it to your life. That's the good part about when you learn something. You're supposed to take something, get some takeaways, and apply them to help you change your own life. Um, I know that he's about to give you guys some resource information. Please take it down. It may not even be for you, it might be for somebody you know, but please take it down and use it, utilize it. But let's be clear that when people tell you something is wrong, or you think that somebody is just acting one way, or you just know that they're acting out of sorts, don't take it as, oh, they just acting weird today. If you know that's not their norm, check on them. Find out what's going on. Take the opportunity to do so, because when you don't and you just think that everything is okay, sometimes it's not. And then sometimes when you finally decide to check, it's too late. We've
That's
had
it.
too many people pass away. We've had too many people take their own lives. And we need to debunk this whole spirit of suicide, because we need to be better at checking on one another. We have a wonderful team of people under Trailblazers, and we are very adamant about checking on one another. But it's not about just the team checking on each other. When I check on the team, I ask them how their whole families are. I ask them how everybody is doing, not just them. Is everybody okay? Is all well? When I
Yep,
ask is all well, I mean is all well, not
that's
just
it.
them. And you have to ask those type of questions. Now, if you don't really want to know, please don't ask.
That's it.
I'm just being honest. If you don't want to know, please don't ask. Because in this day and time, people are just looking for support. Support. All they want is for somebody to show up and just be supportive. They're not asking you for anything but your time.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. They're not asking you to buy nothing. They're not asking you to do none of that other stuff. They
That's
just
it.
want you to show up and be supportive. So let's learn how to do that for one another. It helps. I'm telling you, we losing somebody every day. Every day. The excuse me, the amount of suicides every day has climbed 45% since COVID. Do y'all understand that?
That's it.
Literally, it has climbed 45% since COVID started. It jumped from being at a measly 25% to now being almost at an 80% rate on a day-to-day basis that people are committing suicide. If you pay attention to what you see in the news right now, have y'all noticed that all of these young influencers are dying? And they're not dying by health reasons. They're dying because they're committing suicide.
That's it.
So pay attention. Pay
Yep.
attention. Because I mean, you're talking about influencers that got 30 million subscribers and all of these fans and all of this stuff, but they got all of this stuff and they still depressed and unhappy. So don't think that because you got money, you think that you got all of these luxury items, you got all of this stuff. Things and money don't take place of people in love. You
Not at
understand?
all. Not at
I know
all.
people, I have rich friends, y'all. and they tell me that they are very unhappy. They got all the money in the world, no cares, debt free, but they are very unhappy. You understand? So money don't make you happy. It just helps you pay the bills, but it does not keep you happy and it does not make you happy. So be aware of these things. Don't think that because financial favor has hit your home that it don't mean it's going to be more struggles. I know rich folks that say the more money you get, the more problems you get.
That's right.
So I'm telling you, just because you become famous in one note, you still got other people that don't dislike you just because you did that. You had people that was already hating on you before you got where you were. It's going to get worse when you get more people enjoying you. You catch what I'm saying? So everything has a adverse reaction to it. And the
That's it.
higher you climb, the more people are going to try to bring you down. And
That's it.
in that, you got to have the right people around you to tell you the right things, to give you the right advice, to give you the right encouragement and the right wisdom knowledge to tell you to keep going no matter what.
That's it. And let me just tell y'all something. That you should not be afraid of wanting to go to therapy. There's no stigma in going to therapy. I personally see a therapist. I talk to this therapist once a month, and it's kind of it's been working wonders for me. But also just having the support of people who genuinely care and want to see you prosper and succeed, and not want nothing else from you. They don't want nothing from you but to see you just succeed. That's it. That's it. And we have to do that, man. So the one thing I want to let you guys know. So the National Alliance on Mental Health, which is mental illness, which is NAMI, they say that you should get help when you have thoughts of hurting yourself or others. Um, frequent or persistent feelings of anger, sadness, fear, worry, or doubt, or anxiety, emotional outbursts or mood swings, um, delusions or hallucinations, unexplained changes in school or your work performance, inability to cope with daily activities or challenges, withdrawal from social activities or relationships, um, defiance of authority, substance abuse, which includes alcoholism or drug abuse, also um, other behavioral things such as gambling, also unexplained physical ailments. So Nami says you should get help in those instances. Now, resources are available for you. Period. One of those resources is the suicide prevention hotline. It's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. This is a 24/7 system that will give you support. They'll put you in contact with mental health professionals in your area. That number, and I'm going to put this on in the comments, but I'm going to say the number now. That number is 1-800. It's toll free. 1-800-273 87 no 8255. Once again, that number is 1-800-273-8255. And this is a 24-hour, 7-day a week support system for you. Um, also, if you're not suicidal and you know you're going through all these things, there are other plethora of options that you can do. You can seek a mental health professional. Um, you can say either a psychologist, clinical counselor, psychoanalyst. All these people are mental health professionals. Now, the questions you should ask yourself are: number one, what am I seeking? What am I seeking mental health services for? Why am I seeking these mental health services? Has something changed dramatically or traumatically in my life? Do I am I seeking somebody just to talk to them just so they can help me navigate through this, or do I need to talk to somebody? Do I need a combination of talking and medication? So you have to ask yourself these questions when you go through that. If you're not suicidal, there are also There are also resources available for veterans such as myself as well. Um, the and I think the number is the same. I believe the number is the same. I'm going to double check that though. So even with that, y'all. I mean, there's so many um things that you could that you so many resources that are out there for you, as well as like I said, there and you can seek whether you can seek a counselor, a therapist, a psychologist, psychiatrist. Make sure you know the difference between the two because one can prescribe drugs, the other one cannot, as well as licensed clinical social workers, licensed counselors. All these things are available to you guys. Um, just you have, but you have to want to be able to get the resources, be able to reach out to these people and be and be open and vulnerable. The first thing in recognizing that there's a problem, first thing in attacking a problem is recognizing that a problem exists. That's the first thing you have to do. That first thing in recognizing and attacking a problem is realizing that it exists. Number one, and then also putting yourself in front of resources to help you deal with that problem. The all the things that we go through as as human beings, as kids, as adults, we can't do these things by ourselves. Even though we think we can and we have the capacity to do so, we can't. We have to have help. We need help. We need that help. And if you don't know, if you can't find the resources and things of that nature, just talk to somebody. The difference between you talking to somebody, there's a the difference in you talking to somebody can be the difference between your life and your between life and death. And I need y'all to know that. Um, and I did find that information as far as it pertains to veterans. Um, so you can go to get help and support from the VA, because they're veterans like me, who are just now getting out. They're having difficulty adjusting from military to civilian life, or they're going through crisis. And if you are experiencing difficult thoughts, there's a number that's called it's 988, and that'll get you connected with someone.
And you can also text home to 741-741, and that's also a crisis prevention line as well.
Yep. These are resources that are available here for you. Um, the state the stigma of mental health and men has to be dissipated, because the simple fact of the matter is it's a stigma that should not even be present on men, period. On men. Not to say that women don't go through the same things that we go through, or mental health concerns and things of that nature. And I'm not discounting that. But there's so much stigma on men when it comes to dealing with crisis, and then the mental health concerns such as depression, anxiety, PTSD, and things of that nature. Like I said earlier, the first step in solving a problem is knowing that the problem exists. How can we solve a problem if we don't know it's present? And I see my sis LSG came on. Did you want to hop in real quick, sweetheart? So I just wanted to throw those resources out to everybody, and I also want to just to put that out there to you guys. I mean, this is going to be one of, but probably many shows, because I do want to do a second episode, and also want to do a second and a third and possibly a fourth one, because again, this is something that I think that is near and dear to me. Not because of you know my own personal thing, my own personal journey, but I know that my voice is important, but it also um it's too many of our brothers is too many of our brothers losing themselves to dealing with their own thoughts or being in their own heads. You know, this gentleman Twitch was a perfect example of that. I won't say a perfect example of that, but an example of that. To have all these things and you still take yourself out,
Yeah.
something had to be wrong in that instance or that situation.
Well, like you said, his wife came on and she said that everything that happened to the morning of him being found was not like him. And like
Yep.
I just like I stated earlier, when you see something happening outside of the norm, pay
Yeah.
attention. Because if it's not the
Wow.
norm and it goes against that, pay attention. That this She said that her husband never left the house without being in his own car. He left that morning by calling an Uber and left the car at home. They just celebrated their 9-year anniversary 3 days before, and they gave each other heartfelt, social media messages to each other so that everybody could see. Then on top of that, he just celebrated his youngest child's third birthday 2 days before. And all of these things should have brought upon
Wow.
happiness. But even in the happiness, he shared the happiness with his family. But on the inside, he was hiding something else.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? And like I tell people all the time,
Mm-hmm.
smiles can hide a lot. I could sit up here and smile in front of you all day, but be
Yeah.
hurting so bad on the inside, and you would never know. You know what I mean? If I was that type of
Absolutely.
individual. But you guys that know me know that I'm very transparent. So when something bothers me, I normally let it out. But other people don't do that, and men especially don't. Men do not show you their emotions. Men
That's
do not tell you when they're hurting. If you have to know the man that you got to know that there is something wrong, you know what I mean? And so, with that being said, even his mom, he
yes.
celebrated a good time with his mom a couple hours before he checked into the hotel.
Yep.
Everything was just off. Why would you check into a
My God.
hotel that's not even 3 miles away from your home? What was the whole point of you not wanting to be home? And then when you left the house, you kissed everybody in your house, told everybody I love you, and I will see you later, knowing that later would never come. You catch
That's
what I'm
it.
saying? Like the whole situation
My
is
God.
rough. It's rough because everybody that loved him and knew him never saw that side. They never saw anything. He never gave off anything stating that he had an issue until you saw this interview that he had with this young guy. That interview he had with that young dude, I went and I found it and I watched it on YouTube. He was so distraught
Mm.
during that interview
Yeah.
that you knew something was not right. And then he kept looking over his
Yes.
shoulder. There was somebody there and all of this stuff. So in the end, he had become very distraught and paranoid
Hmm.
for some odd reason. And whatever had taken place in life, it just did him in.
Yep.
And he was just through. And his way of doing it was, well, I'm gonna do it, and I'm not gonna do it in front of my family. I don't want them to find me at home, so I'm gonna go away, and I'm gonna
Yep.
do it in a hotel. Even the people that said when he checked in the hotel, he checked in smiling and said hello to everybody, asked for room service and everything. But when it was time for him to check out, they noticed that he never checked out, and
That's it.
that's the only reason why he
My
was found.
God.
Yep. And think about the other thing to think about too is that a lot like, when I think about that too, when I think about that, I think also about the some of the NFL players that have committed
They
suicide.
have done the same thing.
Junior Seau, I think it's the gentleman that played for Tampa Bay. Played for San
Yeah.
Diego. Did play for Tampa Bay, and then that young man that played on the Kansas City Chiefs
But
a while back.
NFL players, it's been 14 of them that have committed suicide this year.
Yep.
14.
Yep.
Last year
Ooh
it
wee.
was last year it was 12, and in 2020 it was 18.
Yep.
You catch what I'm saying? I pay attention to this stuff, y'all, because it just behooves me that these are people that have it. Well, from the outside looking in, you would think they had it all. But even with all of that, they still decided to check out.
Yep. And not to mention playing a sport that they've probably been playing since a young child. I mean that.
That they dreamt of being where they were and
Yep.
still checked out.
Yep. And then traumatic brain injury plays into that too. I mean CTE is real, y'all.
It's all
Yeah,
real.
it
It's all
is
real.
real.
And that's the reason why I really
And you know what? Can I say something
oh yes, go ahead.
to every grandmother, mother, father that told that little boy he couldn't cry when he fell off that bike? When you
Right.
took the little girl and held her in your arms and let her cry, but you made him get up. Eyes, you told him that cry meant you were a girl. Shame on you. You got it wrong. And I
Right.
don't mind saying that to every big mama, Medea, auntie. If you gave into that indoctrination to young men that they couldn't express emotion, you have been a part of the problem.
That's
And if
it.
you can hear me, that means you still living. Get right.
That's
And
it.
if you have young men in your life, do better. Do better starting today.
That's it.
Those two little kids who fell off that same kind of bike, little Miss Ma'am got a hug, and we just squeezed her, and we said, "Oh, I'm gonna spank that ground for hurting my baby girl." But little JoJo, who was told to shut up, suck it up, get back on that bike, blood and everything,
And
and
try it
ride on.
again.
Throw
And
some dirt
at
on it.
45 and 50, he may still be dealing with that right now. Shame
Right.
on you. Repent and get right.
That's
Because
it.
I'm tired of our men. And I have to admit it. And even of us as wives, we do put a lot of pressure on men at times. We put a lot of pressure to size it. And then we come along and add to it. We need to make sure they have a balance. They're human just like we are. I don't know who taught us that men were superheroes and was going to come on that horse and that whole fairy tale mess. These are human beings living
Mhm.
the same human experience that we are, women.
That's right.
And we've got to understand that they are not invincible, only God.
Yep.
Men are
We're just
not invincible. Stop putting them in that place where they won't cry in front of you or won't show emotion, because inside of them is bubbling over to the point of no return. And I don't want
That's
us to
it.
lose anybody else.
That's it.
I
That
commend you,
part.
brother. I commend you, my brother. I commend you, brother. I see how much this was a difficult topic for you. I learned things from you tonight that I didn't know. And as your sister, we got your back.
That's it.
We got
That's
your
it.
back because
And this
you
is
are
one of the things
creating an
too.
outlet. You're creating an outlet.
And let me say this too. We sit back and we use that term that we are raising up kings, but how can you raise up a king when you won't allow him to be one? You know what I mean? You can't raise up a
Come
king when you
on.
won't allow him to be one. They can't be kings if you're demeaning them. They can't be kings if you telling them, "Oh,
Yes.
you're not worth nothing and you ain't gonna never be nothing." You don't tell a king that.
nope.
That's not what you tell a king. You give kings praises, am I right?
That's
So
right.
why would you tell the
Amen.
men in your life that you ain't gonna never be nothing, you ain't about ish? Y'all know how you do.
Yep.
That's
You,
not what you do. I don't care what he does. You say, okay, I get it. All right, you had a bad day. Tell me about your day. What can I do to make it better if you're a wife?
yep. You
You know what I mean? You're
Yes.
supposed to be the help me, not the hindrance. You ain't supposed to add on to the problems that he already has. You're supposed to be the one that when he comes home, you take those problems away. That's how that's supposed to
Yes.
go. And even as friends, it's the same thing.
That's
You
it.
don't help, you don't add on to your friends'
They
issues.
show up.
You're supposed to be the ones that say, okay, what can I do to help
Wow.
ease this for you? You know what I'm saying? And this is where we have
Yes.
fallen short. We have
Yes.
fallen very short of the block. And I mean, and we have to be honest. We have to be honest as people and say, okay, I know I fell short. Now let's make it better. We're gonna move on from here because we can't continue to do this way.
Exactly. 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 So I want to encourage everybody that's listening and watching to check in. I mean, literally check in on your friend, on the people that are in your circle, man. Some of those folks in your circle may not be okay. And your voice might be your voice or your shoulder to cry on may be the difference between them having to get being able to find the strength to overcome or them taking themselves out of this world. You know, I'm I'm so adamant about that now. You know, again, as I look at my own journey and then I look at other people's journey, but then also seeing the struggles of a couple of gentlemen that I've been blessed to be acquainted with, and it just makes what I'm talking about that much more important and that much more clearer. So
But I want to say this to you, Fred. And I have to say this to LHG too. So I'm glad that she popped in and she popped on. I want to say, I have told you a million times over, and I will continue to tell you again. I have to say that I am glad that you consider me to be your sis. It's a privilege to know who you are because I have seen you grow leaps and bounds since I have met you. And so I commend you for being that stand-up dude. Don't you stop doing what you're
Yeah.
doing. Don't you look backwards because your past is your past and your future is bright. Do you hear me?
yes, ma'am.
At the end
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
day, at the end of
Yes.
the day, I don't care what nothing looks like. And I understand that it may not be what you want it to be, but I promise you that God has bigger plans. You know what I mean? And that's not just
Yes.
because, you know,
Yes.
I'm in the church. He has bigger plans for you. If he didn't, you would not be here to talk about it. You
Yes, ma'am.
understand what I'm saying? And
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I commend you and you keep going forward no matter what. I don't ever want to see
Yes.
you. And to you, LHG, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. And I'm gonna do this without, and I'm gonna do it without crying, because this is to the both of y'all. I'm gonna try to do it without crying. But I have to say, the last couple days when I have told y'all what was going on, LHG has taken the time out of her day without me asking, and she has prayed for me every single day, no matter what she even had going on for herself. Do y'all hear me? And she took the time out of herself to think enough of me to say, let me go to God for my sister, even with her own stuff. And she still thought of me. It's something just to be thought about. Do y'all hear me?
That's it.
When you thinking that nobody see you and when you feel unappreciated sometimes, just the little simple thing can do something for you. This is the reason why I say it's so important that you just show up and support. She didn't
Show
have to
up.
send me, she didn't send me nothing. You know what? She sent me prayers through the airways, and that meant so much. My brother has checked on me every morning. Y'all, do you hear me? Why? Not only because they know I would do it for them and have, but at the end of the day, you value who you value. And if you don't give people their due diligence now, I
Yes.
can't smell roses when I'm dead and gone. Do you hear me?
That's it.
If they sent me flowers now, I can smell them, but I can't smell them when I'm in the grave, dead and gone. You catch what I'm saying?
Yes,
You tell
indeed.
people now how you feel about them
That's
so that
right.
they'll know now what they mean to you. Because some people may not know what they mean to you. I love the both of y'all, but I love the whole team. But I love the both of y'all because this is what they have done for me. You catch what I'm saying? So I'm
Yeah.
giving
I
them
love
their
you
open,
too.
giving them their open praises so everybody can know. And that's what y'all need to do. Tell people that you appreciate them because a lot of people just feel unappreciated. And this leads to depression.
Mhm.
It's the little small things that
Yeah.
lead to something bigger that we can stop. We got the power and the
Mhm.
control to stop this stuff, y'all.
Yes,
We
indeed.
gotta
Yes.
get better. We gotta get so much better at what we do, as how we treat people. We gotta get better at this thing, y'all.
Way better.
So I love the both of
Way
you,
better.
but
Yes.
y'all know that. But I love the both of y'all dearly.
Oh,
So I'm telling y'all, this is I'm serious, y'all. Because this
don't
this
get me
thing is
misty
for
eyed over
real.
here.
This thing is for real. People going to
Love
sleep and not
you.
waking up.
Love you.
You know what I mean? People are going to sleep and literally not waking up, y'all. We gotta do better. We gotta do better.
Indeed. We get hell, we gotta be better.
That's
First of
it.
before we gotta be better before we can even do better.
Yep.
That's it,
That's
bro.
right.
So,
That's right.
you know,
That's
gotta
right.
be better, y'all. So
I love y'all.
I just my thing is this. My thing is this, and as we conclude tonight, man, I want if I reach just one man,
That's it, bro.
it's a mission accomplished for me.
Yeah.
It's a mission accomplished for me.
Yes.
Yeah, if I can reach more than one man, I will be ecstatic. But just that one guy who thought about maybe just deleting himself, or that one person who thought about that life wasn't just worth was not worth it to live anymore. If I reach that person and I can pull that person out of the doldrums of depression and all that stuff, and then I'm you know what my mission is accomplished because I know everybody said this. You want to reach more than just one person, but sometimes what you
All
say
it
and what you
takes is
do
the one.
is just for that. It's just could be just for that one person.
And that's all it takes is the one. You catch
Yep.
what I'm saying? But let
Yep.
me say this to you too, bro, because I really just felt this thing in my spirit. Your son would be proud of his dad.
Mm.
Your son would be
Wow.
super proud of his dad.
Wow.
Know that. Know that. He would be so proud of you right now.
Man. I know he is. Despite all the others, I know that he is, and that's the thing that keeps me going. Gentlemen, I want y'all to realize that there's hope out here. There's hope in your
Yes.
brothers. There's hope in your sisters. There's hope in finding resources that can help you. Um, regardless of your race, regardless of your if you're a gay male, if you're a bi male, if you're trans male, it doesn't matter. I don't care about that.
Mhm.
What I care about is us as brothers getting ourselves back, getting ourselves to the point that we can act, we can literally take our rightful place amongst
Yes.
amongst our sisters and
That's
amongst our
good.
children and our grandchildren.
That's good.
How can we be protectors of our wives and our significant others if we can't protect ourselves? How can we provide for them if we can't provide for ourselves? How
Mhm.
can we speak life to them when we ain't speaking life to ourselves, or we don't have a circle of people that do that? Vitally important, y'all. I just want y'all to catch that and grab onto that, man. And like I said, as we conclude, I do want to throw a couple of announcements out here right now. So, as I like to always say, man, look. So first of all, my sis Coco and Quinn, they gonna be around here on whatever day of the week, probably Monday, probably Thursday. You just never know with them. They might do a pop-up show, and y'all just make sure y'all just be ready. Um, my sis LSG Critical Conversations, man. That joint is booming, booming,
Let me
booming.
tell you.
That joint is booming, y'all. boy, she be on there. She be y'all. Look, if
And we got
y'all
to
did not catch
congratulate
the
y'all. Yeah, we got to congratulate her for real, y'all. Since October, since she has started her first episode. Look, she already working on episode number 10, y'all. Do y'all catch that? She came in hot smoking and ready like a fire grill pit, ready to run.
man,
You trying to
look,
tell me? She done came in and done already did her first 10 episodes. I'm so super excited
longest
for her.
boy,
Woo!
what I look if y'all ain't seen Critical Conversations, I'm gonna need y'all to tune in on Saturdays, man. The the stuff the stuff she be bringing on that joint right there.
I'm telling you, she be hitting them below the belt sometimes, but it's all right. If the
Look,
shoe fit say out and keep it moving.
all, all I'm gonna say, y'all, is them conversations are literally critical conversations. If y'all don't, if y'all don't do anything else, man, please check her out, man.
Yes.
She the content that she's brought to these 10 episodes have been fire, been consistent, and these are conversations that I think a lot of people don't like to have and they don't want to have, but she talks, she brings them out, she brings them, and she man, oh, she hit folks below the belt, she hit folks above the belt. You know, it's you never know where the knockout blow coming from with her. So y'all just tune in, man, for real, for real. And
That's it.
my sis Coco and Quentin, you know, with My Life
I
Has
love
Destiny,
y'all.
they bring the smoke too,
Yes.
but they bring the smoke in a different way. So you
Oh
know, you might
yes.
All the time.
they bring the smoke in a different way,
They
and
do.
you know, and y'all already know Bobby. She I
Bobby
just
just
feel
bring you whatever is clever. That's
it's
it.
look,
The
she
takeover.
give it she gonna look she gonna give it to you rough, rugged,
Raw
and
and
raw.
uncut.
That's
Raw
it.
and
Right.
uncut.
All the time. All the
And
time, yo.
yeah,
But
she gonna
look,
get to
I'm
y'all
so
raw.
excited. We got some really, really good stuff coming down the pipe. I
Yes.
gotta throw this announcement out there so y'all won't forget. Look at here on the 23rd. We got this versus battle coming up. I'm so psyched and ready, y'all. I done told y'all if y'all want to join us on the video, let us know so we can send you the link because we ain't playing. I'm so excited
Ain't
and ready
playing.
for this thing. I haven't put it in the thing and
Yeah.
posted the event yet, but I'm gonna make it an event page so y'all can come on in and pop in the
Yes.
Zoom jams with us. Because I'm telling you, it's gonna be on
Yes.
and popping because we got to see what they repertoire is like over here. Okay, so I'm
Oh
telling y'all,
man.
this battle is it. It's gonna start at 7
Woo!
p.m. and end when we ready. That's what it's gonna
That's
be.
it.
All
That's
right.
it.
So I'm
Let's
telling you,
go.
I'm
Let's
super
go. Let's
excited
go.
for this versus battle. Y'all hear me? Now, I got to get this
Woo.
announcement. This ain't for Trailblazers, but this right here is for the Fleet DJs from DJ Il Nino and DJ T Quest. They having a last sip and sing of the year on the 22nd, starting at 7 p.m. It's available for everybody to watch via Zoom. So if you want the link, let me know so you can come in and support them during the sip and sing. When I tell y'all, they be having some awesome singers up there. Y'all hear me? And I mean, these would be people that you probably would have never thought of before. They get up there and they be singing to their heart is content, but they are great. So they having the last one for the year on the 22nd, which is this Thursday night, starting at 7 p.m. So you guys let me know if you want the link so you can check them out. All right. And then we got some wonderful guests already lined up for January.
Ooh-wee.
And I'm so excited because I got some good stuff for you. I got a group of 4 young ladies that's going to join me in January. When I tell y'all they can blow, them girls can blow. And I'm excited for y'all to meet them because I told y'all I was going to start doing artists at least once out of the month so I could have them on and spotlight them. And these young ladies deserve it. So I'm so excited. And we coming back with What About Your Friends Part 4 in
Yes,
January.
we
So you do
is.
not want to miss it. So I hope that you guys are ready for that. I know Critical Conversations is about to blow up in 2023, and
Ooh,
Trailblazers is
boy.
about to blow up in 2023. So I'm telling y'all to stick with us
Let's
and
go. Let's go.
Stick with us and keep watching so y'all can see what we got coming on. We got some real good stuff. Don't forget, we got the retreat for y'all this year and all that good stuff. So I'm telling y'all to stay tuned because you don't want to miss what we got happening.
Oh, let me let y'all know something real quick.
Right.
I gotta tell y'all this, man. So January 14th, man, y'all save the date. The book release event for How I See It to
Woo, woo,
Perspective
woo!
Soul is gonna be going on. It's first of all, it's gonna be a local event here in Atlanta. So
Okay.
if you it's January 14th in Atlanta. I already made a Facebook post for an event post for it. So if you want to be a part of this, man, y'all let me know, man. And respond to the event post that I put out there on Facebook. I'm gonna share it again for y'all. Um, the address is in the post and everything. So man, y'all come out from 5 to 7. It's gonna be some music, some poetry, and some fun.
So the virtual and the in person are on the same day.
No, the virtual is going to be a different day. I haven't decided on which day that's going to be. I
Okay.
may do it a couple of weeks prior to that, and then do the that physical event here in Atlanta. But
But that's on the 14th.
yep, the physical event is in Atlanta, and yes,
Okay.
I will have books on hand, y'all. So if you want a signed copy, just know that it ain't gonna be free, but
Okay.
you can still get a signed copy. And
That's all right.
I will be doing a virtual event, which will probably be within 2 weeks, within 2 to 3 weeks prior to the physical event.
Oh, sound
But
like a road trip to me.
I do want y'all. I do want everybody that's all my folks in the Atlanta area, man. If you guys could come out and support a brother, man, I most definitely appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. I'm just thankful, y'all. I'm thankful for the people that are in my circle. I'm thankful for my girlfriend Monica.
Whoop, whoop.
She's been so supportive of
So
everything that I've
Monica.
done, everything that I've done thus far, man. And I'm just so happy to be um the person that she chose, or we both chose to be in each other's lives. Um, and I'm just grateful and thankful. I'm thankful for everybody who supported me up to this point, and I'm thankful for the people who will continue to support me beyond
I
this
want
point.
my book. I'm telling you now.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
I got you. I got
Me
you. I
too.
got you.
I
I
Me
need
got
the
too.
you.
I need the autograph. I need the autograph. I
Yeah,
need the
bro.
autograph.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, so y'all want an
Yeah,
autograph? Okay, I got you.
bro.
I got
Bring
you.
it on.
I got you. I got y'all, man. I got y'all. But like Coco said, man, we got some great stuff coming down the pike for y'all, man. And make sure y'all just keep your ears and your eyes to the ground for us, man, because we got some great things coming. Oh, last thing I want to say before we get up out of here. Um, January 30th, I am welcoming author Sharon Rand into the building. We're gonna talk about her writing journey. We're gonna talk about her
Nice.
book. I got some folks
All
lined up for
right.
some great folks lined up for not December, but January. One of them, woo. Listen, all I'm gonna say is that all I'm gonna say is, woo wee, y'all.
I'm
If
telling you.
y'all gonna be in for a treat for this gentleman right here, y'all. Oh my god, y'all gonna love this man. But with that being said, man, that's gonna close out this episode, man, of Trailblazers Radio, man. I'm your host, Frederick Beatty, for the night with my sisters Coco Fenton and LHG in the building. I want to thank them for popping in and just helping a brother get through this, because it was gonna be it was gonna be hard. So, but I thank y'all for just being here, man. I most definitely appreciate that, man. And as I always like to say, as I conclude these episodes, man, number one, love on each other. Number two, take care of each other. Last but not least, it is a crazy ass world out here, man. So above all that, please just take care of each other, y'all. And with that note, we are outro. Peace.